Hey Gemini, this is your monthly tarot reading for the month of September 2023. This is for Gemini sun or rising signs. So please forgive me getting this out a little bit late. For those of you that don't know, it's been a very busy, full couple of almost 3 weeks. My dad was in the Lahaina fires, and so we were able to recover him, but it's been just kind of nonstop. So it's, yeah, I'm a little bit behind, so forgive me if I'm slightly behind on getting these out. All right, so we are taking a look at your monthly reading. This is going to be an overall view. So if you're not accustomed to being here on my channel, the monthlies are actually more extended readings. I do bi-weeklies, which I just put out just before the beginning of September on the 30th for the full blue moon to the new moon on the 14th. Day before Mercury comes direct. So this is for the entire month of September so that we can get a sense of like how things are actually unfolding for you. I was trying to figure out which deck I wanted to use for you guys. So I get a feeling we're going to use maybe multiple decks for your reading. So yeah, so we'll look at the beginning, middle, end of the month and any kinds of challenges that are making themselves known. And I'm feeling a different deck for the rest of the cards. I don't normally even have stones that I bring into the shot, but I just felt like having those there for you guys. I don't know why. So I'm just gonna go with it. Oh, I see that my camera is slightly off. There we go. All right, what other deck? I think I want to use this deck for any kind of spiritual advice. So we're going to be looking at also just like what is a prominent challenge and any kind of spiritual advice that is coming through. I also feel like there's another one in here somewhere. There we go. All right. All right. So we will start by taking a look at how we can frame all of this information. So which I use these astrological cards that talk about the different houses. So like which area of life is being brought into focus for the month. So these are collective readings. Let's keep that in mind. So if, for instance, you're watching this and this is your sun sign and you're kind of like, I don't know if this really resonates. Totally good. Maybe go watch your rising sign. I also watch collective readings. It's just that's the way of it, is that some collective readings are going to land, some aren't. Obviously, we can't hit it for every Gemini rising or sun sign. If you really want to have something very specific to you and you want answers about your particular situation, information is down below for how you can book a one-to-one reading. So let's get into it. We are looking at the 7th house. So relationships are up for you. And 7th house definitely is more known for being about romantic relationships on a serious level, on the level of like, let's say something like marriage contracts, those kinds of things. It can have to do with business partnerships. So that is also a possibility. But, you know, given what we have going on, beginning of this month, we're finally coming out of Venus retrograde. So I kind of think maybe we're leaning towards something to do with relationships in general. Or romantic relationships. I mean, more meaningful, deeper romantic relationships and connections. And even though it comes direct on the 3rd of this month, it stations direct, it's still in a shadow period, which means it's like taking some time to really gain momentum and really get going back to where it is. So don't expect that everything is just going to clear up at the beginning of the month, but for whatever reason, there is something that seems to be clearing up still for this month, right? Which is not totally surprising, as we're going to have Mercury retrograde and doesn't station direct until the 15th of the month, so in the middle of the month. And then also that will be in shadow. So I feel like this month is going to be a lot of like, okay, things, maybe we're starting to get some messages, things are starting to clear up, we're starting to understand what this whole like little bit of period was that we were going through these particular retrogrades. There are other retrograde planets, but then I feel like October is where things are going to maybe start to feel like they move in a different way. So how does your month look like it's shaping up? We have the 8 of Cups, the 2 of Cups in the middle of the month, and the King of Wands towards the end of the month. Challenge coming up is the 7 of Swords. That's interesting. And then the we have for your, we could say, divinatory guidance, spiritual guidance, is the Five of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles. So let's take this one at a time. It's just like overall, a lot of cups energy for sure, but also just like some having to deal with differing desires or conflicting desires. It seems like there's some friction that you're dealing with in this particular month. And so, yeah, okay, well, let's pause there. Let's just get into the rest of this. So, the Eight of Cups, starting out at the beginning of the month, it just seems like you're dealing with the, like, either coming to an understanding about, or you're at a place where you're realizing that there's just, it feels like there's things that feel too heavy, you know, like water when it's weighted can feel just like really heavy and weighed down. And so there are things that are just too heavy that need to be let go of in a certain way. And maybe not necessarily taking your hands completely off of them, but at least kind of turning away from them in a different, like in a different way. Maybe feeling more pulled to go in a direction where you feel more committed to traveling, perhaps for some of you a solo path, but definitely traveling a path that feels more committed and aligned with your purpose, with your life path, with your maybe we could call it a spiritual path, whatever that means for you, but something that is more aligned and connected with your higher self. And there is this turning away from that which has been weighing you down and feeling incredibly heavy. And so, you know, again, not to say that you abandon things that are important to you, but perhaps you turn away from handling them in the way that you have, or that there are certain adjustments that really need to be made. And perhaps it's a catalyst for pushing you in a direction of personal growth and going on kind of a more personal journey for a period of time. We have in the middle of the month the Two of Cups showing up, which is, I feel, very interesting because we're looking at relationships. And so I don't know if you're leaving behind a heavy situation. Maybe you had an ex come back into the picture over the period of the Venus retrograde, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, that wasn't like what I expected or wanted, or, you know, feel however you feel about that. And maybe this is more of this renewal and a feeling of maybe meeting somebody who has potential, or reconnecting with the idea of what it truly means to be connected to someone who's like, I mean, this is the soulmate card, right? So if we're talking about seventh house topics and we're talking about relationships, this could definitely be just kind of like feeling maybe like there's a renewed understanding about what that really feels like, what that really means when it's reciprocated, what that really means to be in this kind of like soulmate, I hesitate to say that type of energy. So, but, you know, and not necessarily saying that, oh, you're going to meet your soulmate. I'm more just saying like, yeah, that's possible. But I think you'll just have a reminder of returning to getting some clarity around the values and what you feel is aligned with like what you want for a true and deep partnership. You know, and I think there's some kind of clarity that you get about this. I think it's interesting with the timing because, as I said, by the middle portion of the month, that's when we have Mercury coming stationing direct also. And so there is this kind of, you know, now we've been out of the Venus retrograde for a little over a week, right? And then by this point, and then we also have Mercury stationing direct. So I feel like there's like some more clarity that's coming through. That's the feeling that I'm getting from this. For some of you, I actually do think that you are meeting somebody that is of interest. Somebody who like maybe has you remember what it feels like to be in the presence of somebody who is charismatic and flirtatious and has intuition and is passionate and is fun and flirtatious and warm and inviting and maybe even makes you come alive. Love this energy. So very possible that that could be what is showing up for you as an actual person. So perhaps it is meeting a person for some of you. And also I think that like for those of you who are not maybe single, this could be about a reigniting of like a certain type of passion again, like because you've been reminded or you've gotten some kind of clarity about what that is. And maybe for you, this is actually embodying this yourself so that you can attract in a partner. It's interesting because I see like as the challenge, we have the Seven of Swords you know, I sometimes in this position I could say like, you might have somebody who's shady around, but in this case, I'm really feeling like this is really about being honest with yourself, not lying to yourself about what it is that you want. Perhaps you've been holding on to certain ideas or lying to yourself about the reality of certain situations and needing to get granular, like super brutally honest with yourself. Not, maybe not brutally, but like clear, you know, and not allowing yourself to perpetuate situations where you're believing in fantasy or you know, maybe believing in other people's potential or the illusion of them as opposed to like what's so and what's actually there, right? So there is this, and I feel like following that, right? Like the spiritual advice that comes in is the Five of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles. You know, the Five of Wands is about a conflict of desire, right? Like there is this, but it's not like Five of Swords energy. It's not sharp. It's more like sparring. It's like, oh, it feels like maybe I'm at an impasse, but really it's about a negotiation. It's like, you know, so you parry and you turn and you do all these different things, you know, in kind of like sparring with somebody, but it's not something that is insurmountable. It's just meant to show you that like you might have differing desires when it comes to maybe perhaps you and a particular person that was, you know, an ex, a relationship, something like that. And it's like you guys want different things right now. You know, maybe it's just timing, maybe it's whatever, but you want different things right now. And like there is the accepting of the reality of that, the looking at it plain and facing it. And the reason I say that is because we have with that the Nine of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles shows up and it's just like, she's like, I know my worth. I know my value. I know what I bring to the table. I know I am a goddamn catch, and I may not have everything together, but I've got enough of my shit together. Like, I'm worth something. And so if you're in a position where this is resonating with you and you're just kind of understanding and realizing, yeah, I am in this position where we're wanting different things at this particular time and things have felt heavy, and, you know, I'm reminded of what it is that I truly desire and I need to stop lying to myself and just be really clear with myself about what this is, then, you know, get grounded into the place of like some of the spiritual advice is coming through is like get grounded into like the reality of what it is. Own your worth and your value, like as you go forward through the month and stepping into this place. So again, you know, like it's interesting because I actually have realized recently that just by accident, I've realized that I have a bunch of friends who are actually Gemini risings. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm also, by the way, a Gemini rising. So, but this is for Gemini sun or rising signs. So I hope that this feels helpful and insightful. I would definitely recommend going to take a look at the biweekly. Those are shorter little bites. Those are about 5-ish minute long on average videos. And getting like maybe another piece of the puzzle, or as I said, booking a one-to-one reading. So the astrological highlights video is going to be coming out a little later than I would like to this month, honestly. So, but I am working hard to catch up and get things sorted. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. If this was insightful, please give the video a like so that I find favor with the algorithm gods. And, you know, while you're at it, why not besides liking, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these videos on the horizon. Also, down below in the description, you will find my dad's GoFundMe. If you feel inspired or so inclined to share it with your community, your friends, definitely trying to help my 83-year-old dad get back on his feet after losing everything in the Lahaina fires. So thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.